Greetings, this is Mark Anderson for Kellogg Community College, and today we're going to have a little introduction to arithmetic series. In fact, we're going to look at the sum of these n terms in the arithmetic sequence, and we're going to have some reviews of sigma notation as well. So what's kind of cool about this is that if you actually go to the book that I teach, they have a really nice proof of why this works here. But if I'm going to add up n terms in any arithmetic sequence, I can use this equation of taking the number of terms, dividing it by 2, and then multiplying that by the sum of the first and the last number in my arithmetic sequence. So this would again be the last term, and we know from earlier videos that our a sub 1 is our first, but I'll still indicate it right there. And in case we don't know the last term, we're very used to using this equation of a sub n is equal to the first term plus n minus 1 times d. So we're actually going to use both of these equations because what we want to do is we want to find the sum of the first 20 numbers starting with 3 in this arithmetic sequence. So this is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. It looks like we are starting with 3, and our difference between these is all going to be 3. But the big question is we want to find the sum of the first 20 terms. Now here's what we know. We know that we want the first 20 terms, so according to our equation, it's 20 divided by 2. We know the first number in our sequence, which is going to be 3. But what we don't know is we don't know this number here. We don't know what the 20th number is. So what I'm going to do is quickly use this equation here, this equation to find the nth term in any sequence, and I'm going to find my 20th term, so when I get this answer, I can plug it right here on the dotted line over here in the parenthesis. So I'm going to type in my 3 right there. There's my a sub 1, which is 3, first term of this sequence, plus n minus 1, in this case that'd be 20 minus 1 or 19, and our difference in this problem as we move from one number to the next is also coincidentally 3. So 3 plus 19 times 3, we'll go 19 times 3 first, then add 3. My a sub 20 is actually the number 60. So there it is, 3 plus 60. And 3 plus 60 is multiplied by 20 over 2, or 10. So it's 10 times 63, so it's 630. So if I added up the first 20 numbers that started with 3 and went up by 3, I would get a total of 630 by adding that 20th number. So in problem number 11, I'm going to kind of just repeat the same process. I'm going to go 40 terms into the future, so that's going to be 40 divided by 2. And it looks like my first term is 20, but I don't know what my 40th term is. So what I'm going to do is use my a sub 40 equation, this one up here that's underlined, to find this missing point there. So a sub 40 is equal to 20, that's my first number here, plus, in this case, 40 minus 1 is 39, and 39 times d, which is my distance, is going to be negative 5. Well, that looks like I'm going to put this all together by multiplying 39 times negative 5 and then adding 20 to that, which gives me negative 175. So my 40th term is 175 negative. So that negative 175 is now inside here. So this is going to be 40 divided by 2, or 20 times negative 155, and that answer is going to be negative 3,100. So if I added up the first 40 numbers starting with positive 20 and then adding subtracting 5 from each of these, by the time I get to the 40th number and adding all those up, I'd have over 3,000. Alright, so I'm going to scroll this down just a little bit, so you may want to copy these functions down if you don't have them already. So in problems 12 and 13, I'm going to apply my same logic and skills here as well. So to find my 25th term, I'm going to go 25 divided by 2. My first term here is 4, and then I'm going to figure out what that number is here, because I'm looking for the sum of the first 25 numbers in this arithmetic sequence. And here's my a sub 1. My distance here is going to be 6 in this case, because these are each jumping by a span of 6. So let's go find that sixth 25th term. So that's a sub 25 is equal to the first number, which happens to be 4, plus n minus 1, so that would be 24 times 6. So 24 times 6 and then adding 4 gives me 148. So this is the number I would plug in over here because, whoops, not 18, 148. Apologize for the rewriting there. And then I add these together, which gives me 152. 152 times 12 and a half, it gives me 1900. 1900 is the sum of the first 25 numbers starting with 4 and adding up the next 24 numbers to that 4, as long as each number was 6 units apart. So for our final problem, we'll know we're going to be looking to our 16th term, but the sum of the first 16 terms is equal to 16 over 2 times the first term, which is negative 4, plus the number we haven't found yet. So let's find that number over here by plugging in negative 4 plus 16 minus 1, which is 15, times the 6 and the 6 in this case, or sorry, times the span in this case, and the span in this case is a positive 5. So I'll put a 5 right there. So 15 times 5, which is going to be 75, plus the negative 4 gives me a positive 71. So this is a 71 plus negative 4, and that's going to be multiplied by 8. The answer in this case is going to be 536. This is the sum of the first 16 numbers starting with negative 4 and adding up the next 15 numbers as long as the gap is 5 between each problem. So for our final 4 problems, we're actually going to deal with a raw sigma. This means we're going to take the first 10 numbers from 1 through 10 and we're going to add those up. Now what's great is that this formula gets so directly used because remember the formula is going to be S sub 10 because we're looking at the first 10 numbers in this arithmetic sequence here. And in the series total, we'll have 10 divided by 2. But in this case, you see we don't actually know the a sub 1 and the a sub 10, or the a sub n in this case. Well, let's actually plug that in. To find our a sub 1, we would just have to plug 1 in for the I. So this is 2 times 1 plus 3, or 2 plus 3, which is 5. So there's my first number here, which is 5. And then if I go to my 10th number here, this is going to be 2 times 10 plus 3, or 23. So 5 plus 23. So this is really going to be 10 divided by 2, or 5, times the quantity of 28. And 28 times 5 is 140. So 140 is the total of the first 10 numbers in this arithmetic series created by this equation. For problem 15, we're going to move over here and write down the first 16 numbers. That's 16 divided by 2. But we're going to figure out our a sub 1 by plugging in a 1 for the n. So this is 1/2 times 1 minus 1, or negative 0.5, or negative 1/2. There's my first term. And if I go to my 16th term, then I have 1/2 times 16 minus 1. So this is going to be 8 minus 1, or 7. And so this is going to be 8 then multiplied by 6.5. And 8 times 6.5 is 52. 52 is the answer to that arithmetic series. All right, so for our final 2, this is just kind of walking through the same process. We're just going to start off with the formula over here, looking at the sum of the first 14 numbers. This only gets us this far in the equation, though. We would need our first term, our a sub 1, and we would need our last term, which is a sub 14. So this will give us here a 1 minus 2 times 1, which is going to be a negative 1. And here I'm going to use 1 minus 2 times 14. So that's 1 minus 28, which is negative 27. So here I have a negative 1, and here I have a negative 27. If I add these together, I get negative 28. Negative 28 times 7, or 14 divided by 2, is negative 196. This would be the sum of the first 14 terms in this arithmetic series based on that equation. So for our final problem for this worksheet, for this video, we are going to look at 4 minus n, a little bit easier equation. Why don't you tackle it first. If you want to pause the video, you can unpause it as I go through the answers. All right, here we go. Plugging in 1, since I know I'm going to need it, I go 4 minus 1, which is 3. Plugging in 12, because I know I'm going to need it for my last term, 4 minus 12 is negative 8. Then I get to my summation equation here. This is the sum of the first 12 terms of this arithmetic series. Whoops, I don't know why I put that little line through there. Slip of the pen, slip of the pen. And that's going to make, let's see here, 4 minus, sorry, I got lost here. I started to think how this looked a little bit like Trogdor the Burninator. So this is going to be my 12 divided by 2, and then this here, the first term is going to be 3 plus negative 8. And then 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. Negative 5 times 6. The answer here is negative 30. Negative 30. And that sure does beat listing out 12 numbers and adding all those up here. So thank you again for watching. This has been a little introduction to arithmetic sequences and, the arithmetic series here based on these little sequences. So again, thank you. And my next video is going to deal with some story problems that blend these formulas together. Thank you very much for watching.